Hi, everyone. This is Bob Sorrentino from Italian Roots and Genealogy. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, our newsletter, and our blog. And our great sponsors, Abitativa Casa, Italy Rooting, and Phil Italy. And today I have a really great guest, Jennifer Schipper, a.k.a. Jennifer Salvaggio.
Oh, yes.
If we were in Italy, it would be Jennifer Salvaggio. It wouldn't be Jennifer Schipper.
That's a married name. I lost my Italian last name.
Well, that makes our researching our Italian ancestors easier, because the women didn't change they still don't change their names.
Yeah. I don't think I realized that. They don't?
No, even today, they do not change their names.
Interesting. You know, now I think about it, you're right. My cousins carry the Cirillo name, which in Italy. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. Which, you know, when I was researching my dad's family, that's kind of when I caught on to it, because my cousins, or my Piramalo cousins over there, all the women are still Piramalo. So unlike here, you know, if you have a John Smith or something like that, we have an advantage, I guess, in doing research.
That's good.
We've been friends for a long time, and we've figured out, for those listening, that we both come from a small town in Bari, Toritto.
How crazy is that?
Isn't it? And you still have cousins there, right?
Yes, I do. Yep. And I visited them 3 times in my lifetime. So it's pretty cool.
So now, what are they, like first cousins, second cousins, or?
So their father was my grandmother's first cousin. So they're actually second cousins with my mom, but they're more my age, because I guess my cousin Constantina was younger than my grandmother. So they're more my age, but they're my second cousin once removed.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of, you know, in my dad's family, that's some of the stuff that we had. So we were talking just before about, are we related in some way, shape, or form, which is quite possible, I suppose.
Yes, it is.
So have you done any DNA testing?
No, I haven't. I know my mom has, but I hadn't. So,
because I'll tell you why. Because I looked yesterday after we talked a little bit, and I looked for Salvaggio, the way you spell it, and I didn't find anything. And I was like, no. Then I kind of put in a wild card, and I got several hits on Salvaggio, S-E-L. So did the name get changed when they came over, or did somebody change it for some reason? Who knows?
Well, when you're in Italy, Salvaggio with an A is very big. Like it's the first time I think I've ever. Yeah, I remember in 1997 when I went, because we had phone books back then, and I remember opening a phone book in Italy, and there was Salvaggios everywhere. Where I had never even met another Salvaggio in the United States, so it was kind of interesting.
So it's possible that the Salvaggios here have the wrong spelling.
Yeah, because S-A-L makes more sense.
It does, yeah. I was surprised when I saw S-E-L. I kind of really was. So
now I will tell. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't mean. I was going to tell you, but the Toritto connection wouldn't be Salvaggio. Obviously, Salvaggio is my father. So my mother is Pinella, and her mother was Scarola, and Vito Scarola and Pauline Cirillo from Toritto came to America together. So it's actually Cirillo's in Toritto, and I think the Scarolas are very close. The town's very close to Toritto, where they're from.
Oh, so yeah. So I'll have to look at that. I think I may have a Cirillo in there somewhere. I mean, most of my Toritto family, my mother's maiden name was Nicoletti. And both my grandmother and grandfather had the same last name, although they weren't related. But Nicoletti and Bari and Toritto is a pretty common name. My grandfather was actually originally, his family was from Acquaviva dell'Infante, not too far from Toritto, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. And we went there during siesta. There was not a soul on the street, not a person on the street.
No food to be had.
It was like a ghost town. And that's really, that's really smaller than Toritto. But there's some of the names I have, Pacione. My cousin's a Scarangella. There's a lot of Scarangellas. That's a big name in Toritto.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's a very common. It's like Smith in Toritto, Scarangella.
We're going to have to ask my cousin, because my one cousin does speak English, and I tried to get him on here today, and he's like, no, I'm shy. And I'm like, no, you need to come on. So we'll get him on, and we'll ask about all these names.
A shy Italian. That's
I
impossible.
mean, he can't even be. So I told him, well, if I get Elroy on, my son, I was like, then maybe you come because we're little buddies. So maybe he'll come.
Yeah, and if some of the people who just speak Italian come on, as long as if he want to be, they want to be on the translate. I mean, I love having the Italians on, especially from the hometown.
Yes.
So when did you go there for the first time?
So I went in 1997. I went to the University of Delaware, and I went for a study abroad program with them, with one of my best friends from college, who I'm still best friends with.
But like Toritto was a side trip, or you didn't?
Oh, yes. So sorry. So we were in Siena in Tuscany, and my grandparents were still alive, and the Toritto cousins had been to the U.S. to visit my grandmother. So I had met them in the U.S., but I hadn't met their children. These are my grandma's first cousins. They'd been here. So my best friend Jen and we made a trip, and I can't even believe we did it. At 22, you don't think anything about how dangerous it is, but we're in the middle of the night taking a bus all the way from Siena to Toritto in a foreign country. And then we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of that. So we went down, and I saw my cousins that I hadn't seen since they were in the US. And then I met all of their children, Anna and Angela and some of the other cousins. And so I stayed in touch. Facebook came around shortly after. So I stayed in touch a bit through Facebook with them. And then in 2003, I think, my brothers and I took my mom for her 50th birthday. And while she had been to Italy, she'd never been to the town where her grandmother came from. So we took her to Toritto and went back and saw them again.
Oh, that must have been exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I've traced the records because the records there are pretty good. The ones online, everybody's name is online.
Yeah.
They must have been one of the first ones to film. But I've been trying to get into the church, and Don Nicola won't let anybody see any of the church records.
Really?
Yeah. Even my friend Rocco Mercurio, who he helped us with the commune there, get some documents from my grandparents. And even he can't get in, and he's like a big man on campus. I think he used to be the police chief or something like that, and he's well known. Well known in the town. Everybody's well known in the town.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I mean, they probably all know my cousin Constantino. He's gone now. He died during COVID, but he was a big builder. They were builders in the town.
Oh, really?
Yeah, construction. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we need to get my cousin on because we probably can get some influence with them. Definitely.
Yeah, we did visit the house where my grandparents lived. And we did meet a man in the square. He was 90-something years old, Mr. Nicoletti, but he wasn't a relative. But strangely enough, he said he had lived in the house after my uncle left, that he lived in the same house. So I just put a message out on Toritto online or whatever that Facebook, and asked if anybody knew my aunt and uncle or my cousins, and they gave the names because, like we said, it is a very, very tiny,
Give me their names. I'll ask.
It's Nicoletti, Nicoletti.
Okay, Nicoletti. And do you know what their first names are?
Yeah, well, my aunt and uncle were Giovanni and Giuseppine. Her last name was Lisa, Lisa, and that's a common name over there too.
That's an interesting. I would never thought that.
Yeah, that's pretty common. And how old would your cousins be?
Well, my grandmother's cousins, they're gone now, but their children are not much older than me, maybe 55. 55.
Yeah,
60.
See my cousins are all like in their 70s now, so they would be the generation before them.
They would know them though, and their children would know them because if they're still in Toritto, because their father, Constantino, like I said, he did construction. The family is very well known in Toritto, so he would probably know them, and the kids probably know. They all stay in Toritto, so they would probably know your family.
Yeah,
through that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll send you all the kids' names, all my cousins' names. Because like I said, they were my oldest cousin. She was 18, I think, when she came to America. Wow. And the youngest one was probably about 5 or 6 or something like that. when they got here. Maybe even a little bit younger. Could have been
Mhm.
even a little bit younger. Um, so so when they saw you for the first time, were they surprised, shocked? How was it when you got there that first time?
Oh, God, I gotta go back 30 years.
Hey, I have to
Um,
go back 60, so that's 30 is nothing.
you know Bob, I was thinking when we first met each other, you were probably my age, 50, and I was like 28, 29. Like,
Probably
how,
some
like,
yeah, probably something like that, yeah. It
now we're
goes
old.
fast. Well, you'll be here
Oh,
soon.
I feel, well, I'm already getting old. But, so sorry, what was the question again?
When they first saw you, when you went that
Oh,
first time and the family saw you, what was it like?
Oh, it was amazing. So I remember just they were so welcoming to me and my girlfriend Jen. The girls gave up their bedroom for us. We each had a bedroom, and they would put little gifts on our bed every
Really?
day. We'd go out with them all day and come back, and there'd be like a little gift. And and at that time, Constantino's wife was alive, their mother, and she was like the best cook, and she was like my grandmother. Just made such great food and was just feeding us and feeding us. And from being in Italy, when you're in northern Italy, it's very different cuisine than we grew up in Italian American families. And so I was like looking for my lasagna with heavy ricotta and it just wasn't there. So I was really missing like what I considered real Italian food, which was really not, but the Italian American food. So when I got down there, she was making us all kinds of goodies that we were missing. And also we were missing breakfast. Like in Italy, you didn't have a lot of, because we were there for 8 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks. And so I hadn't had like scrambled eggs and bacon. And so I was like, she was saying to us, like, what do you guys want to eat? And I was like, just scrambled eggs and bacon. And so she made us scrambled eggs and bacon and was cooking for us. And they just treated us like royalty. And then they like we'd known them all our lives. And then we walked the town square with them arm in arm, and they introduced everybody as their American cousins. And I think in that moment, you realize you are American, not
Hmm.
Italian.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So um it was really cool. And then again, when I saw them in 2003, it was a lot of the same. And my grandmother's cousins were still alive, so you still had a lot of that old school Italian around you, and it was amazing.
So
But
so
oh, go
how'd you
ahead.
communicate?
Well, the first time in 1997, I spoke Italian. Don't
Oh,
ask me don't ask me how I lost it, but I had to, because at University of Delaware, you had to, pass a proficiency test to go study there because all our
okay.
schooling was in Italian.
Mm,
So that first time was not too bad, um, although their dialect in Barry is very difficult
oh
because
yeah.
what I had learned was proper. The second time, and we didn't have phones or translation apps and stuff back then, so the second time, my mom was a little better, but she speaks heavy dialect. Now, she doesn't speak great Italian, it's very broken, but she was around it enough that she could get us by a little bit with her dialect, with a heavy dialect though. And then this time, man, Google Translate, it was out. This time was awesome. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. They're like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, there you go. So it was a lot easier now with that technology.
Yeah, I'm taking class at the Italian club. I keep trying to learn. I just want to be able to like order a cup of coffee. Well, I think I could order a cup of coffee now and a few things like that. But growing up, my parents spoke Italian to their parents. My
Mm-hmm.
father spoke Neapolitan dialect, my mother Barese, and they used to fight all the time over who was speaking right Italian, and
Yeah.
neither one of them were.
Neither
Uh,
was because like that does not.
but they didn't teach us, and it's like such a bummer that they even the
Yeah.
dialect, because it would have helped.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how they were, right? They really believed in coming and immerse. They wanted to come to America and they wanted the American lifestyle, and they really they wanted to embrace it all, and so they didn't speak it.
Well, yeah, they wanted to assimilate, but also, it wasn't cool to be Italian back then either.
Exactly. Nope.
Now people want to be Italian. People who aren't Italian want to be Italian.
Yes, it's so true. My son says that all the time. He's like, "Ma, when we're in school, everybody's talking about how Italian they are. Nobody talks about anything else, but it's so cool to be Italian." I'm like, well, and he's like this, like super blonde, blue eyed. He's so removed from the Italian, um, not the culture. His bloodline is really thin from the Italian roots, but he loves everything about being Italian. That's his biggest thing.
Well, that's good. Well, that's why I do this kind of thing, because I don't want them to the kids to lose the
lose it.
culture. That's the
No.
sad part. We have such a rich heritage. And like you said, when you're there, especially if you're there for, a couple, you start getting immersed in it. We went, first time we went was like 30 years ago. My son was a baby, and we spent a couple of days in Rome and then like a week in Sorrento. We really didn't do that much. And then the last time when we went, we were supposed to go by around COVID, and then we had to postpone it. But my kids, they're 28 now. They're 29 and 30. They just loved it. I mean, they loved it. My daughter thought she was going to get the best fettuccine Alfredo she ever had. I had to break the news to her. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist in Italy.
So she goes, "What do you mean it doesn't?" I said, "It's American."
That's very American. I don't even think that's Italian American. I think that's just American.
Well,
my grandmother never made that.
No. But you know what it was? Some guy in some restaurateur. His name was Alfredo. He invented it. That's. But they don't have chicken parmesan and that kind of stuff either.
No.
But you know what? And we talk about this all the time. They use very few ingredients. It's all fresh, and they don't use a lot of ingredients in their dishes. 4 or 5 different ingredients or something like that.
So when we went back this summer, we stayed in San Gimignano in a house. It's kind of a cool story. So I was telling you, I went with my best friend in college the first time to Italy, to Siena. Well, we all turned 50 this year, so it's many, many years later. And so her family, me, and my family, and our other best friend that was best friends with us in college, but she couldn't go because she was an engineer major and it didn't fit her curriculum. We all went back together, and we rented a big Tuscan villa for a week.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, and so like, who would have thought? We brought all our families and our best friend that couldn't go to Siena with us, and we showed them Siena, where we went to school and all that. But the reason I was saying that, so we were in our home, the big house we're staying at was in San Gimignano, and so we'd go to the grocery store like every day on our way home from town. And the grocery stores are little small grocery stores with very few things, like, because everything's fresh. And I could not believe how inexpensive it was to buy things in fresh food. Like, we could buy inexpensive stuff here, but it's usually stuff in a box.
What the best part about it is, you want a bottle of wine, it's like €2 or €3.
€3. Done. I just bought a wine here. And we have an Italian. I don't know if you ever went when you lived here to Mazzaro's. It's Italian.
Oh, yeah. We used to go all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah. There was no place else to go.
No, yeah. If you were really Italian, that brings back roots from New York, or North Jersey. But yeah, so we went. I bought a bottle of wine. It was $35, and it was the same wine I got for $7 in Italy. And I'm like,
we'll be right back.
Experience Italy like never before, traveling with a scheduled group or create your own bespoke tour with friends with philitaly.co. Pack your bags and follow Phil. That's www.philitaly.co. I know, it's great. The amazing thing is, this last time we went, there were 5 of us, because my daughter's fiance came. He was quitting work and moving there right by the end of the trip. But I go out for breakfast, and you get coffee, and you get a cappuccino or a latte.
Yes.
Pastries or whatever. 5 people, like €15, €16 or something like that. That's like the price of a Starbucks. You're getting food for 5 people.
Yes. And the other thing I was telling you when I talked to you that I found so interesting, I don't think I realized it last time I was there, but this time I would go in and I'd say, "Can I have a cannoli?" And they'd be like, "That's Sicilian." So you realize that what we see in our Italian restaurants, from soup to nuts, whether it's our drinks or our appetizer or desserts, that's because the Italians came over, and they were in New York, and in their areas, those areas were very you had Little Italy where all the Italians were, and the Irish would be in their area. So everybody was in their own areas. Well, they must have come together, and they created these dishes, or the Sicilians would be like, "Well, here's the cannoli." And, the northern Italians would say, "Well, here's the fish dishes." So we see it from soup to nuts, but over there, it's still very segregated. Like, you don't go to Bari and get a cannoli.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You get
you can't.
you get their pastries or whatever. And I learned in Sicily from my friend Francesco, it's not cannoli, it's canolo. One
Oh,
cannoli is
canolo.
cannoli. Well, one cannoli is cannoli is plural.
Plural. So
So
it's a cannoli.
if you went into in Italy and you said, give me a cannoli.
Should be due cannoli.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And my wife kept asking, she kept asking for latte, which is milk.
Yeah.
And they would look like latte. And I say, you have to say cafe latte.
Cafe con latte.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to, they don't understand. And then we were in the restaurant in Bari. We love Bari, the city.
Oh, it's amazing.
We really liked it there.
Let me tell you, you went there 30 years ago?
No, Bari, we just went 2 years ago.
It is so different than 30 years ago.
Yes.
I mean, I was shocked.
That's what I heard.
Yes. 30 years ago, it was nothing and it wasn't really, but now it's what a town. How fun.
And they said it wasn't safe 30 years ago.
No.
I found it to be, we stayed in the old town. And once I figured out how to get back to our apartment, it was great. Because those streets are nuts. But people were out day and night, old people, young people. There was no trouble or any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, we really found it nice and safe. But anyway, so before I forget, because I'll lose my train of thought at 75.
God, you're 75? No way.
Almost next year. So she got, a fish dish and she asked for cheese. And the guy flipped out.
They don't like that.
I said, why'd you ask for cheese? You're not supposed to. She said, I wanted to see what he would do.
There you got it. You got the reaction.
No cheese. No.
Yeah. They will tell you they are not making things to the way we think we like it. They're not.
No, they won't even give it to you.
No.
It's this time we had never been north before. I had been to Milan before myself with work, but really didn't get to see anything. But Milan now is like New York City. You could pretty much get anything you want any time of day or night. They don't care. As long as you're paying the 16 euros for a spritz, they don't care what you ask for.
Yes. Oh, that was so good. You just gave me a craving for one of those.
Oh, we make them all the time now.
So do we.
Yeah, right? It's like addictive.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I love them on the beach. Sunset.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we learned about those in Sicily with my friend Francesco. He said, we had lunch and then he took us on a tour of Cefalù and then he said, we'll go have a spritz. I was like, what's a spritz? You never had a spritz?
Yeah.
And then that's it. You're hooked.
You're hooked, Ed. You're done. We brought that back to US, that's for sure.
And I think we were in Florence and there was a place right outside one of the piazzas by the church. They said, I said, I'll have a spritz. They said, the small or the large? I said, bring me the large. It was like this. And it was really cheap there. It's like €7 for this big giant spritz. Milan, across from the Duomo, it's 15 euros.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we had dinner there one night because we flew into Milan this trip. And oh my God, it was so expensive. I was like, I didn't even eat anything. What the heck was that bill?
We went one place that was recommended, but it was probably too far because we walked there, and it was pretty far. But anyway, it wasn't bad. We ate a lot, and it wasn't that bad. But it wasn't right by the Duomo. Anything by the Duomo, forget it.
It's just expensive. Yeah,
it's just like really, really expensive.
Yeah.
But we went to places up there, like we went to Ferraro and Pisa. We had never been to Pisa before, so Pisa was nice. Venice, I'd never thought I'd go to Venice, but for anybody who's
you did go.
Yeah, well, my daughter wanted to go, and so I never thought I'd be in a gondola, but I was. And it was fun. It was nice. It was interesting. What was interesting is how they turn them, how they kick the wall out and push off. Yeah.
I forget. I was there the second in 2003, so I don't remember much about Venice, but yeah.
Yeah, we were only there for, it was packed. It was so crowded. And it was May. It wasn't even like the high season.
Oh, wow.
Like wall-to-wall people. And even the first time we went to Rome 30 years ago, there was nobody there. We went in August, so all the Italians were gone.
Yeah.
And then you could walk into the Colosseum. You could just walk into the Colosseum. You had to
Not
pay a fee,
anymore.
but it was not. No,
Yeah.
you got to get tickets in advance.
No. And I couldn't even believe it. We went to the Trevi Fountain. You couldn't even, I mean, there's a huge line. I was like, we just walked up to it and threw a penny or whatever we paid. I could not believe. Now, I did go in the last week of June, so school was out. When I went in the past, when I went for school, it was January and February. And when I went for the second time, it was Christmas. So maybe it was either it's really just become a very popular place, or maybe the summer is crazy. But I do not want to go back at that time of year.
No,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. When we went there, we were there the week. In fact, we were like one of the first flights that didn't have to wear the masks anymore coming back to the U.S.
Yeah.
And so this is a funny story. We had to get the test before we went, of course, right? And now I'm sweating it out because my daughter was coming from Texas and meeting us. And I'm like, what if one of us tests positive before we go? But anyway, we got there and we had tickets to go to the Vatican. And I said to my wife, I said, I don't know. I said, we're supposed to get a test. What if we get the test and we test positive? I said, what are we going to do? Right. So I said, you know what? Let's just go. If they tell us we have to show a test, my daughter's test was okay. Ours had expired. She had 72 hours. We had 48, whatever. We get there. There's 10 million people. Nobody's wearing a mask. Nobody's checking anything. Wow. Everybody's on top of each other.
They don't care.
Nobody cares.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I said, well, there you go. Because I said, worst case, we'll give up the tickets. If they send us some, we'll go some other time. And by that time, nobody cared. But coming back, they canceled the test for Americans the day before.
Oh.
So we get there, and the lines are like nuts. And the Italians are asking everybody they gave us this form, like a book to fill out.
Yeah.
And the Italian people, and it's in Italian, so I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this thing. And they were everybody's confused. And then finally, there was another, couple or two couples of Americans, like, maybe 20, 30 people in front of us. They were able to show them that the law had changed, that we didn't need to have it anymore. And then it kind of started moving along. Mm-hmm. But it was like nuts. It was really, really nuts.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You didn't have to worry about that in Florida, right? You didn't have to worry about masks.
No. We did not. We did go to Utah to go skiing at Park City. It's funny because that just popped up in my memories. And we did have wear a mask there for 4 hours on the plane. But I was like, oh God, I could never have done it to Italy. No way. Like that 4 hours was horrible.
On the way over, it was funny because on the way over we had to have the mask, but they really weren't paying attention. Once you were on the plane, they really didn't pay attention. And then coming back, we didn't have to.
You didn't have to. Thank God. Yeah, because that was horrible. But I will tell you, it's kind of funny for my son how lucky he was. When we went to Utah, tickets were dirt cheap at the time because nobody was flying. So we went first class because they weren't really that expensive. And but they wouldn't sit you next to another person. So if you were one person, and there's three of us, so if you were one person, you got a whole first class row to yourself. So of course my kid is like, I'm going for it. So he set up that here he is sitting in first class. He's got his teddy bear, everything sitting in that one chair, all his snacks, everything. He had like a party up there first class with a row to himself. I said, you'll never see that again. Like, never going to see that again. So we have pictures of that. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I miss those days when I had status with Chase. Oh man, that was great.
Like I said, it was just dirt cheap because nobody was flying during COVID. So it was I think first class ticket was like $400. It was nothing. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's fantastic. Our last trip over, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was $12.50 to Milan from here, round trip, and we had the we were on Delta, and we had not the economy seats, like the super economy or whatever they
Yeah.
call it, and it was okay. It wasn't bad. The food was lousy, but other than that,
Yeah.
it wasn't too bad.
Well, I'll tell you,
All
I
right,
was very.
so you
Oh, go ahead.
so I'm curious now because you said you took the bus 30 years ago. What was that
Oh
like?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I forget.
How long did it take?
We started like 4 a.m, and I don't think we got there till like 6 p.m. So I think it was over 12 hours. And I don't know what it is, but I don't remember much. But my best friends, they remember everything. Things I don't want them to remember. But so they were just telling me where my girlfriend was telling me, she was like, "Don't you remember getting on that bus?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "It was 4 o'clock in the morning. It was dark." And I was like, "I don't remember any of it." But I guess, but what I do remember is how good the rest stop food is. Do you remember? Did you drive it off?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And so, yeah, but it was and we had to we were changing buses in all these towns. I don't even know how we knew what we were doing because we didn't have, we had to do it by map because we didn't have phones. And, yeah, 2 young girls in Italy, the 20 years old. I don't know what the heck we were doing, but, yeah, so it was a long, long drive. And I remember getting there like 13, 14 hours later. And, at least I was going to see my family. Like I say to my best friend all the time, like, that was really nice of you to go with me because
Yeah.
she could have gone, they were going to Pisa with the school. So she could have gone to Pisa and it would have been a lot
She
easier
probably had a
trip.
better time with you.
Yeah. Well, she got to see what Italian family life is.
Right, and have homemade Italian food.
Yeah, because we were craving it because that was towards the end of our trip and we were just ready to go home. It's different this trip because you're so in touch with home because you have cell phones and the internet. And so I didn't feel like but back then I could only call my mom, my grandparents like once a week and it was expensive and we were missing home.
Well, yeah, when we lived in England from late 94 till late 96.
Yeah.
And I had gone over, we didn't have the kids yet, but I had gone over by myself for 6 months and cell phones were just like starting. So, my wife had I was able to get her on the phone, but, it cost you a fortune to call.
Yeah, exactly. So even if you had them, it wasn't like free minutes.
Yeah. I used to try and work it so that I could call from work. I would try and call her from work before she left for work in the morning or something like that,
Yeah.
So we tried to do, or I would call her from work at work before I left work.
Yeah.
Because then it didn't matter. I could talk for hours on the Chase time. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yes. Oh, those good old days, JP Morgan Chase. I loved it. I loved it.
That was the good old days before. That's when we still had the bar in Bournemouth. Did you know that?
I've never been to Bournemouth, but no, I didn't realize you guys had a bar there. That's why everybody wanted to go to Bournemouth.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the cafeteria at 5 o'clock would turn into a pub. They had these wooden
awesome
doors.
Yeah.
Closed off. And at 5 o'clock, they'd open up the doors and there'd be a full bar there with taps and the whole 9 yards.
Everything. Even the gyms. Remember, I was so mad when all the gyms
They had a great gym over there.
Yeah.
They had an indoor, it wasn't regulation, but like an indoor soccer thing. And that was the coolest place to work. They had, digressing a little bit from the Italian thing. But anybody who's an Anglophile, you'll enjoy this. They would have boxing matches once a year. And
really?
you wear tuxedos and it was really cool. They in the gym, they set up all these tables in the gym and bring in all this great food and champagne and all of this kind of stuff. They know how to party. Their Christmas parties were the best. Yeah.
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he lived in Bournemouth and he worked with us. I think it was in Vince's team. I can't remember his name. He's on my Facebook. I'm going to look him up, but he used to, it seemed like they had fun there.
Yeah. They know how to drink. I'll put it that way.
I love it. Well, we did have fun though. JP Morgan was just a fun company to work for. I mean, it was great. And it was great.
Yeah. Before
that bank of
before
one merger, it was good.
Yeah. And I started at Chemical Bank, which was
okay.
It was like a family back then. It was really, really neat. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. So I was original JP Morgan, so I was out of Delaware.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't go back very far, just JP Morgan.
So the New Yorkers listen and know what we're talking about. Anybody from the rest of the
Yeah.
country, other than Ohio,
Oh, Ohio would. Yes, that's right. Because of Bank One. Oh,
they
God.
know what's going on as far as
Yeah.
that goes. But so we have to figure out how we're related, because
It's definite.
So
Oh, yeah.
your family was in Toritto for umpteen hundred years,
Oh, it's long.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So there's got to be some connection. I'm going to have to
There it
send
absolutely
you.
is.
I'll have to send you my tree from there, because it goes back to like 1750 or something like that.
Okay.
From all my grandparents and things like that, and we'll have to see if there's any similar name, or you could send it to your cousins.
And see where they see
Yeah.
any. Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely, because they know all that history over there.
Well, that's a good thing about, I say this, the Italians don't do DNA testing. They don't do a lot of ancestry because they don't have to. They could just walk to the cemetery and everybody's there.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because when I was there last, so many of that other generation was alive. And when I went to the cemetery, because I always go see to the cemetery because that's where my great-great-grandfather is. And all the cousins, like I knew like there was a whole line of people in that, because, they don't bury underground. They bury in the, oh God, what do they call it?
They put you in the wall.
Yeah, in the wall. And that whole thing was full of mausoleum. The whole mausoleum was full of like people I knew I had met when I was there. So sad to see that generation all gone.
Well, I'm like that when I walk through I haven't been there in years, the cemetery in Queens, St. Mary's. I walk down the sidewalks or whatever, and I see all of these people from Corona, all these families that I know from Corona. Like,
isn't that something?
Yes, we know
You're
them.
like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about that old Italian heritage is everybody just knows everybody, even when we were in New York and New Jersey and stuff. Like,
well, yeah, and everybody. I mean, we used to have my grandmother's house. There would be, my cousins' cousins were cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no distinction there, and we always called my father's cousins aunt and uncle.
Mm-hmm. We still do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we always did that.
Yeah. Because that's a matter of like their age. It's a respect on age. If they're a lot older than you, whether a cousin or not, you call them aunt or uncle.
Well, but I have my father's half first cousin in Italy, and he's younger than I am because my grandfather married a woman half his age when he was 60 and had another family. So he told me I had to call him Zio Nicola because he's my father's first cousin. It had nothing to do with age. He was my father's first cousin, so therefore,
you had to call him because he was the first cousin.
I had to call him, Zio,
Uncle Zio.
Yeah, and I have met my father's first cousins. They were in their 90s, and same thing like you. I mean, they were all over us. They were pulling out pictures and
old pictures, yeah,
and they had pictures from America.
Yeah,
they had pictures that my aunts had sent, and they had my mother's and father's wedding photo. That my grandmother had sent.
Isn't that amazing?
They save everything.
They do.
They save everything. But, I say this all the time. They're just as happy to see us as we are to see them. In some cases, even more so.
Yeah. That you feel it. You feel that.
Yeah. They make you feel so much at home and part of, but like you said, that's when you really feel American.
Yeah, you do. You realize that all our stuff is Italian American, and we're not Italians.
Yeah.
But it's funny you say that because with this being my third trip, and I hadn't seen my cousins in 25 years this trip. The other one, there was only 5 years between it, but this time it was 25 years between it. But there was like an even deeper connection. Maybe it's because of Facebook and we stay in touch. I don't know, but it was as if like they're my cousins that I haven't seen in a while, and we were hanging out like I would hang out with my American cousins, and there was really a special connection this time when I got to see them, of the ones that are older. And then what I find, what I'm very excited about, is my son now met their children.
Yeah.
And their children are actually their cousins, but they're more not my son's age, but they're younger generation. And now that because nobody in the family but me and my mom and my grandmother kept that connection. So now we've got a connection that's going to keep going, and so we're not losing it with that family in Toritto. So that's amazing to me that we keep it going.
Yeah. Well, but I think Facebook does have a lot to do with it,
It
because
does.
you could just jump on there anytime and say, "Hi, how are you?" Or I'll ask them questions or, things like that. Like my father's name was Nicholas, and St. Nicholas Day is coming up, and my grandmother I was the only person I knew whose father ever got a born on a Mastercard card, right? Because that was a big deal that was bigger than the birthday. And so we always had that connection to St. Nicholas on December 6th because my grandmother would send my father a card and, they would explain that it's his name day and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I send out to all the Nicolas over there. And there's a ton of them in the Piramalo family because they were all named after my great grandfather.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because they still tell that tradition true, especially in the South. The naming.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and I know because my grandfather's St. Lawrence Day, like everything was about the name of the Saints Day that they were.
It was bigger than the birthday. They would celebrate that more than they would celebrate the birthday.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we always when we were growing up, we would always we would hang up our stockings on December 5th.
Okay.
Because in Italy, not that we were that close to the Italian thing, but that's the way, I guess my father must have grew up like that. So and my mother, so that's what we would do.
They just held the traditions.
We just kind of would do that. But we were the only people that I know, even Italians, either other Italians didn't do it.
Yeah, we never did that. But I will tell you, you were talking about Facebook. The other thing that has made a huge difference is WhatsApp, because we have a group family. Yes. Like this happened only from going to Italy this last time, but we have a group message, and so I talk to them any time of the day now. So that's really cool.
Yeah, no, WhatsApp is everybody over there who uses WhatsApp.
Yeah. Yep. And so now we got a family chat from Italy. So I could, because I was like, I should call Antonio and ask him about the Nicoletta family. So I'm going to do that after.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a PDF file with all the names in it, and he could check it out. And then I'm gonna look for the other name that you gave. Was it the Cirillo name? I'll see.
Yeah, Cirillo is Toritto and Scarola, but I think Scarola might be a different town.
Yeah,
my cousins are all Cirillos.
Well, Jennifer, this has been lots of fun. Yes. Good catching up. I mean, after
you too,
whatever number of years.
Can you believe it? That's amazing. I can't believe, I was in Italy. You're in Toritto. I'm like, yeah, and here we are. So that's and now we might find out we're related.
Yes, that would be. Well, I'll tell you, through DNA, we found out a couple interesting things. One of my best friends from college, he's father's Sicilian, and he's my wife's fifth cousin. And my son, our kids are adopted. So Matthew's, his birth father was Puerto Rican, and Marion's Puerto Rican. And so my son and my wife are fifth cousins.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that wild?
Oh my gosh. That is. But we'll dig deeper. We'll figure it out.
Yes, indeed. And we have to get your cousins on from Toritto.
Yes, we'll do that.
What we'll do is if we could get him on, I'll see if I get my friend, I'll see if I get Rocco Mercurio. They probably know Rocco because I think everybody knows Rocco.
Let me find out.
Rocco Mercurio. Everybody knows Rocco.
Okay, well, hopefully then Rocco can convince Antonio to come on here and let's all get on from Toritto in the U.S.
Yeah. Don't go away because I'm going to just pause the
okay
thing here for a sec, the recording.
Perfect.